actually see me and less of my disorderly house in the background.
Woohoo!
Oh, what's up?
Not much. Do we feel as though we're ready to rock?
I am indeed ready to rock. That's my asshole dog who's going to be barking and screaming throughout this whole thing.
I love it. I would expect nothing less. My cat would probably be attempting to claw down the door right now if there was not another person out in the living room. But you know.
Yeah.
So, before we get into it, how's everybody doing?
Doing all right. It
Super.
is almost Friday. There we go. That's better.
That's all that matters. Surviving another week.
We need that. There we go. Oh,
Yay.
nope. Sorry, I have like we put all our effort into the studio, so like the personal setup's terrible.
Totally fair. I mean, we don't even have a studio yet, so
Yep.
you're one step ahead of us. But if that's all we have to say, I want to talk about something to begin with that's very topical for the chronically online like I am. What in fuck's name do we think is going on with Kate Middleton?
Like, it's easy to see how this might have gotten blown out of proportion, but like at the same time,
But every time they double down, it's worse. And I
Yeah.
feel like if it wasn't that bad, like you could so easily fix the
you
situation.
a chance for her to just pop up and be like, "Hey, I'm fine. Like, it's all good. Like on camera, like live, like in person." And you keep doing these weird like
Yeah.
Photoshop pictures.
First it was like she hasn't been seen since then, and then it was the Photoshop picture and making her like take the fall for it essentially, and then it was like, oh, like here's like a blurry ass photo of like someone sitting in a car with Prince William or whatever, and like I don't think so, because like half the time all these like paparazzi photos of like I don't give a fuck about the royal family, I just love to be in everybody's business.
Yeah.
Putting that out there. But like all these paparazzi photos are always like 4K telescopic lens, but now when there's actually some concern, like the blurriest shit imaginable. And it's like, oh, spotted.
Her, we're telling you for sure.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, spotted out, walking around during this, but then they were saying like, oh, but previously she was like, recovering from surgery and it was still so dire that she like couldn't like, sit for like the Mother's Day portrait or whatever, so we had to photo like, what is the truth? So the fact that they just keep doubling down and making it worse for themselves when they could very easily stop speculation in its tracks. I don't know what's going on, but do we think she's alive? Let's start there.
Like, I don't know. I think something that big, like, they would have announced, Like, there's no way, like, maybe a few days they could have delayed it, but, like, for this long, like, I don't know.
I would assume that she's probably alive. My guess is she had a nervous breakdown, which, like, totally fair.
Yeah.
I can imagine being involved in that family is hell.
Sort of what I assumed, because I feel like, if it's a death, it's not like they can hide it forever, so, they're gonna come out with that. And if it were something that wasn't potentially embarrassing or they felt reflected poorly upon the royal family, like, oh, she just had a minor surgical procedure, they would have been pretty open about that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's got to be something that's they're sort of embarrassed about. So that's why I'm thinking nervous breakdown, some other sort of mental health issue.
Or she's trying to divorce Cheater Boy.
Or maybe, or even, like, she's in rehab. Took too many of those, like, mommy's little helper type pills.
I didn't even think of that.
Or, like, is she in, like, in real rehab, or, like, the rehab that, like, rich people go to when they do something
or, like,
bad?
Miami.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Like, the Passages Malibu?
There you go, that's it.
Yeah. It's just, like, we're gonna keep the party on a down low, basically, for a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, I don't know how far into the rabbit hole you've gone, but, like, there's a guy that, like, she was allegedly having an affair with who, like, just turned up dead. Like, I don't know if it was by suicide or, like, by accident. Yeah.
Shit, dog. This just keeps getting wilder and wilder. And, like,
Yeah.
one, if she is cheating, I don't blame her at all, because he cheated first and he looks like that.
Yeah.
Every single meme I've ever seen about the fact that Princess Diana snatched them jeans right back as soon as he started behaving like his father. And anyone else see the rumors that the king had died on St. Patrick's Day? That was really fun, and I wish it had been true. That would have been great.
That's like another like rumor that I've heard. Like this is all tied in with like them trying to cover up for the fact that like Charles died or something.
There was the rumor on St. Patrick's Day was that, and I had been hearing something from some of my friends who were in the UK. They were like, "Oh yeah, like there's some flags at half staff or whatever," and everyone's like, "What's going on?" Because one, would it not be the funniest fucking thing in the world for him to kick the bucket before they even start circulating the money with his face on it?
Can you imagine like the party in Ireland?
That's that's what they were saying, that he had died and that they were trying to delay the announcement for as long as possible because they hate to see the Irish winning. Which, like, man, what a day for my people that would have been. But that was a fun day on Twitter. Unfortunately, it wasn't true. But yeah, if this were the olden times, now would be the time to invade. The royal family's in disarray.
No one knows who's in charge.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Brooks, what were you gonna say?
I have no idea. Did I say something or start to say something?
I think so.
You have the floor. Go.
I have no recognition.
No pressure.
Entirely fair. But yeah, it is always so fun to be, again, kind of chronically online when there's like what is most likely going to turn out to be some sort of low stakes conspiracy theory happening. Yeah. And just like watching it unfold in real time and all the like wild speculation. It's very entertaining. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but also down with the monarchy, so.
Yeah, I don't really care so much about other people's business as you do, but monarchies, how are these still a thing?
It's ridiculous. Absolutely nuts.
It is crazy.
Yeah, like it's 2024 and there's a king. What? That doesn't seem right.
Not to comment on the way things are going in this country politically, but yeah, it does not seem right.
Listen, the vibes here are very leftist, but we don't talk about it just to give people a break.
Yeah.
You hear about enough. We are here for 45 minutes of not thinking about it, TM.
Except for the occasional joke.
Yeah, the occasional joke. That's about it. But I think she's either divorcing him, which God almighty he deserves, or she like had a nervous breakdown because again, it seemed like they whether directly or indirectly, whether it was some great conspiracy or just a horrific accident result of the way that the royal family is treated, they fucking killed Princess Diana.
Yeah.
So like I cannot imagine the hell that marrying into that is.
Nope.
What if this was like, not to like veer into our like show territory a little bit, like what if this was like some elaborate like Phantom of the Opera type of thing where like she's been like hideously scarred and like she's like stalking around the palace in like a half mask now, like dropping chandeliers on people.
I mean, there's plenty of chandeliers to drop.
Yeah.
I hope that when King Charles eventually does kick the bucket, I hope that Princess Diana has a fun field trip down to hell to beat the shit out of him.
We gave her a day pass. Like, it's part of his hell, actually. Like, that's
yeah. It's like how when Henry Kissinger finally died, part of his hell was Anthony Bourdain getting to go down and beat him. Oh, man. So, those are my thoughts on the Kate Middleton conspiracy theory, and I'm just excitedly waiting to see where this goes. Technically, it could be solved by the time that this actually, like, is hitting the quote-unquote airwaves, Because now they're also saying weird things. It's like, oh, she has something planned for Easter? I'm like, what the fuck are you people talking about? Why does it keep getting weirder? Why do you keep saying worse and more cryptic things?
Is she planning a terrorist attack or something? Like,
Could not tell you.
An Easter egg hunt?
of doom.
Of doom. Yeah, I just.
Or what's in the eggs?
Yeah. Who on earth knows? But we might know by the time you're seeing this, and in which case I can only fucking imagine. Moving on to our next discussion point. This is something I find myself thinking about a lot. What if Earth is like one of those sort of uncontacted tribes in South America, as in the whole galaxy knows that we're here, but they've agreed not to just leave it. They've agreed to leave us alone until we get more of our own shit sorted. And that's not really a question, that's just sort of a discuss. The floor is open.
Yeah. Like, it is like a very Star Trek way of like looking at it. Like, you know, like we're all like kind of in this together. Like, let them figure it out. We don't want to influence them too much. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like, you know, maybe our view is limited just because we're limited to just our planet and our culture.
Yeah.
But like historically, if there were a civilization out there capable of like getting here and like knowing that we are here and like observing us, they're not going to be quiet. They're just going to like take over, you know. So it could go either way. I don't know.
Sometimes I would like to imagine. Wait, Brooks, you go first.
I was just say, my mind automatically goes to Star Trek and the Prime Directive. Like, I would like to believe if there are aliens out there that they do have an ethical code, where it's like
crossed, I hope.
Non-interference in the development of non-warp cultures.
I would like to imagine that there is something else much smarter than us or much more advanced than us sort of watching, and eventually we'll hit a point where they will reveal themselves and finally this hell will be over because the Star Trek thing will essentially happen.
Yeah.
Where it becomes like a unifying force.
We'd like to get the hell out of here. Like, would have like the ability to do that.
Yeah. I would like to, like, thinking about that really is nice. Because as we stated less than 5 minutes ago, it's getting real messy. So I think some sort of grand unifying force like the discovery that we are definitively not alone would be really nice, especially if that discovery also is followed by like, hey, here's a million ways to make things so much better. We just had to wait for you guys to hit this one milestone.
Yeah.
And now you get to share and now you get to share in like all of the hyper advanced technology that's been created by however many other civilizations.
Right.
That sounds really nice. Exactly. We do the one thing and then we like the smorgasbord of technology and advancement of the entire universe is now at our fingertips.
Yeah, like you guys are in the club now. Like
exactly, you're in the club now. I would love for that to be the case. I really would.
I just want so badly to go to like a cool like alien bar somewhere, like on nowhere, or like like on like a Deep Space Nine type of thing.
How much fun would that be? Or what's the? It's not a bar. It's the restaurant at the end of the universe from Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just man, doesn't that sound fun?
Like totally, like a Star Wars cantina, if you will. Like I want that so bad.
Yeah. God, just it would be nice. And I feel like there's not to get too into it, but like there's got to be something else out there. Just statistically, it's too damn big.
Yeah, it's mathematically impossible for there not to be. Like if something can happen once, like it will happen again. It's just a matter of like finding the right conditions for it happening.
Yeah.
And there just happen to be like billions and trillions of worlds out there, so it's happened at least once more,
Yeah. Probably like, again, millions and millions of other civilizations out there that are just too far apart to get to each other, or like no one group has figured it out yet, but maybe someday, like some, millions of years in the future, there will be some chain reaction where like one person, one civilization figures out, okay, this is how we get far enough, and then they drag their asses to the other side of their galaxy, find more people, and just start, just sort of explodes exponentially from one spot to like, okay, everyone we travel to gets the the technology that will bring them across their own galaxy.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be so awesome.
Oh my god, I know.
Like I think my ideal dream job would be like deep space, like cargo hauling. Like, give me a ship, like get it. I need to get you this, transport somewhere. Like it'll take like a
Yeah.
month or two. Like I'm on it. Like,
That does sound like a good time. Although I do wonder if any sort of like advancement that would bring us to a world like that. I feel as though knowing how things work down here, it might end up a bit more Dune than Star Trek, which is not always what you want.
it sounds ideal to have like just a nice, quiet, like alone, like voyage in space. But then you realize like space pirates, like
I was gonna say
weird,
you
like
were set upon by Orion pirates.
yeah, space pirates, like weird anomalies and stuff, like natural phenomenon, and
Although technically, if you get real into it, because I tortured myself by reading all of none of the like Brian Herbert ones, but all of the Frank Herbert Dune series. I slogged through all of those. And I
I
will
have not.
say God Emperor is probably the last one that's enjoyable. Everything after that is just thinly veiled philosophy lessons, which like fine, but
Yeah,
but even through all of that, there are no aliens in Dune. It's all
yeah,
just
everybody's human.
everyone's human, no matter how like warped by like, by the spice or by time or everything. It's all humans. But I feel like if there were to be any sort of like, we can now traverse the galaxies, it would just be Dune but with aliens instead of
Yeah,
everything's just human.
yeah. I think there's little chance there would be anything that looks like us. Like it would have to be like the exact same conditions. Like we evolved from the same species. We in the same amount of time under the same like temperate conditions. Like anything else I think would be just so different from what we look like because it's under situations that we
Yeah.
probably have to grasp.
Although isn't the kind of like scientific community's like thought experiment is like what would a silicon based life form look like rather than a carbon based life form like us? I'm no scientist. I've just heard that's a thing like that people have talked about vaguely
Yeah,
in online circles that are very far above me.
yeah. Like I've heard something about that before. But yeah, I think that's a thing that like a lot of people are hung up on. That like, oh, well, there's nothing that like can live under the conditions like that spawned humans. Well, like, why are you thinking that's going to spawn humans? Like,
Exactly.
there are elements out there that we don't know about, like things that
Oh,
things that are
absolutely.
making up. Yeah, things that we don't know about. Like things could live off an element that we just have never discovered, or just doesn't grow in this part of the universe. Like there's so many variables. Like there's like I said, there's going to be zero chance that they'll look anything like us.
Although it does get, which is why I think in a lot of science fiction movies you wind up doing the like, oh, it's a sentient cloud with tentacles because we're trying to come up with something. We're using our brains to try to come up with something incomprehensible,
Yeah,
which is just a real bitch. Along the lines of like trying to imagine a new color.
yeah, exactly. Like how do you come up with something like if you've never seen it before
Yeah.
and have never even conceived of it before?
Although I do kind of wonder, and I'm no scientist, but like I know that one of the sort of I guess laws of the universe, or like as far as we know, like you can't create or destroy matter in a system. So
Mhm.
does I feel like that has to imply that there is a finite number of elements. Maybe it's in the trillions, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it
yeah,
could
if you
be a
can't
really,
create
really
or
high
destroy
number.
anything, I feel like eventually, technically, you should be able to count all the things at some point.
Yeah, everything will have gone to constituting something.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm no scientist.
That got really deep. Whoa.
We like to do that every now and again just to remind people that we're not complete idiots. We just act like it most of the time.
That's what mine and Nick's show is for. We're the complete idiots.
Well, I mean, hey, if we're going to be linking up, it's pretty on brand.
Yeah.
Well, while you're saying this, I'm sitting here thinking about the Netflix documentary I just finished watching on Lord Royale, because he's the alien prophet.
Oh, man, that's a fucking throwback. I remember listening, and like, I was listening to these years after they had aired anyway, but the last podcast updates on Lord Royale, and like, those are.
I'm not familiar with this.
Ooh, Brooks, you have the floor. Please explain.
So back in the 1970s, I can't remember exactly what year, there's this guy, his name's Claude, French guy, who claims he was visited by aliens who told him that they had created the human race in their own image, but they wanted to let us develop on their own, and then someday they were going to come back for us, I guess. But he became their prophet on Earth, and promptly started a cult.
As one does.
Well, yeah, as one does, yeah.
Yeah, and it's still going on. He's like 80 something now, and he had to move from France to Canada and then to Japan, because he kept getting in trouble with the law, and people like were pushing him out because they didn't like the cult. But where they really came to prominence was in, I think it was 2002, when they claimed to have cloned the first human baby. They say that it's done. They referred to her as Baby Eve. She is a clone of her mother, and apparently she lives in Israel. They have never shown any proof of any kind, but supposedly, because the aliens told us that we were supposed to clone ourselves for some reason.
It's giving Evangelion. like a clone of her mother, aliens, but also religious.
Yes, so it's, but they spend a lot of time being nude, just all the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nudity.
I mean, sure.
Hand in hand, yeah.
Just constantly nude. If you should not watch the documentary unless you are totally okay with seeing lots of genitals.
All right, noted.
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, he's still around, still convincing people that aliens created us.
Was it the same guy, or maybe am I thinking of a different nut job who was posting culty shit on the internet? Is Lord Royale the same guy who was like making like Facebook video? Like last podcast talked about this, and he was making like Facebook, like posting videos on Facebook, talking about how like he's also Jesus.
Of course.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that is the same guy.
Well, no, actually, he's Jesus's brother. But he did once have dinner with Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and insert any prophet. He said he had dinner with them all.
Cool.
Yeah, but he is the Messiah. He calls himself the Messiah.
And this is also technically old news, but since we're talking about cult documentaries, did either of you watch the Love Has Won documentary?
No, I heard about this one. It's like this weird, like, cult lady, I think.
That was, and it was weird seeing that, like, flipping, I think it's Hulu or whatever it was, but I was flipping through it and I was like, holy shit, because I remember, again, last podcast was like, oh, we're doing a relaxed fit on, like, this news story on a cult that, like, just broke, and I had known about it even before then because, Caitlin Doty of Ask a Mortician had been talking about, like, had been like discussing the condition of like the cult leader's body when they found it, because she was like essentially like mummified by the amount of like weird fucking shit that she had been doing, like the whole like, oh, colloidal silver will like fix your everything and blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
So she was talking about that, and then I was like, oh man, I jumped on this really early. Like the news story is like, you know, pretty fresh by the time this first person is covering it, and then last podcast covered it, and then I found the documentary. I was like, god damn. So I felt very, like, with it in the true crime world for a hot minute there. But yeah, if you're looking for an absolutely wild time and just seeing what bad circumstances in your own personal life combined with a person saying, hey, like a charismatic person saying, hey, like, yeah, the world is fucked up, but like, I got you. I've got this. Like, just, come hang out. We'll get all this shit on lock. As stupid as it is, like looking in from the outside, I really do see how people get in there sometimes. I really do. Because like one of the like, kind of cult victims was like this woman who like, she had like just graduated like law school, I think it was, like right in like the 2008 financial collapse. So like she had done everything right. She'd been like overachiever, top of the class. Everyone's saying like, oh, as long as you go to college, like you're set for life. She went above and beyond. She went to law school and then just whoosh, everything out from under your feet. You did everything. Like I see, as stupid as the things they were saying were, I see how it gets people. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
If everything goes wrong at the exact wrong moment in your life.
Yeah. Speaking of cults, the Nexium headquarters is about a 1-minute drive from where I am sitting right now. Nexium headquarters.
Oh God. I remember listening to a podcast episode about that and hearing somebody pronounce Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute as Rensselaer. I was like,
yeah, no,
nails on a chalkboard. I was like, no, I know that place. You're not saying it right.
I knew somebody who was pretty high up, like in the organization, like was in the documentary, like.
I remember taking a picture of a newspaper article in like the Times Union about Nexium and like DMing it to the last podcast Twitter account and being like, hey, look at this. That's absolutely wild, which kind of leads me to another question that I didn't have written down. Do we think we could withstand cult tactics?
It's easy to say, yeah.
Because that's my thing. I see, again, like I'll see the Love Has Won documentary and I will kind of empathize, like, yeah, I understand how everything going wrong in your life could lead you to a place where you're kind of willing to believe everything. But also, she's saying that she's Jesus. And that, like, Robin Williams is an archangel. What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah. I think as long as you're, like, vigilant about, being on guard for the crazy, like, looking for the one crazy thing that's like, oh, that's it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because, like, there are so many things where I feel like these cults kind of, like, rise to prominence and, like, because, like, the Love Has Won thing. Like, one of the, like, they gained so much money from selling, like, holistic shit and, like, crystals. And I just think about, like, how many people who were just, like, a little witchy or whatever just went online and just searched, like, crystal healing set and then bought that from them and then just never thought about them again. Like, that's nuts. I always wonder, and I feel like this is so unethical because they probably, whoever the guinea pig in this situation is, would probably get brainwashed. But sometimes I'm like, what if you send someone in to like join the cult, like as like a secret agent? I would like to imagine that I could resist, but I feel like that's just so. Again, I'm looking at it from the outside. I probably couldn't. But I think about it and I'm like, I could totally join a cult and like be fine and just be reporting to the outside. And again, this is hubris. This is nothing but hubris.
They did that with the Raelians. There was a reporter.
No shit.
In Montreal. She and another woman who was a photographer went undercover for like, it was something ridiculous, like 10 months or something, because they were trying to find out if the clone baby was real, which they never really got like firm evidence either way. But yeah, they reported on all this stuff, like all the tactics they used to break people down and stuff. Yeah, I feel like I would resist it quite well, partially because I've taken so many psychology classes and studied psychology so much, and partially because I have seen, I'm gonna say, maybe too many cult documentaries.
Yeah.
You know, all the tactics they use and things.
Yeah.
It's good to go in informed.
If you know your pressure point, if you know your weak point, if you know the thing that they're gonna like try to get you on,
yeah,
like, I think you might be able to resist it, but like it's a lot harder than you think, I believe.
Well, 100%, I would assume.
Yeah. I remember a friend of mine went to this like meditation like thing, like come like a free seminar, learn how to meditate. We're like, oh cool. Like we were in college at the time, like that sounds cool. And like it just kept getting more and more culty as the thing went on, and like to the point where they're like, I remember the guy was like, okay, he's like, once you join, once you join in, he's like, you have to give up all red meat, and like my friend and I look at each other, and he's like, and all alcohol, and like we literally just stood up. And, like,
yeah, nope, fuck that.
Nope.
Yeah, I feel like there are so many little things that would be like so many mundane things that would probably be my breaking point for like where I would step back if I was like, maybe teetering on the edge of cult activity. They're like, oh, like, you have to give up your mortal possessions. No. I am a collector by nature. Fuck that.
I like my stuff.
I love collecting items. You can see them everywhere. As soon as they got to the like, and now you give up everything, you let it all go. Now, fuck it. I'm out. Bye. This was fun. I feel like that's where it stops for me again, just because I'm such a little like goblin, where I love having little things and trinkets. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I quit with the cult.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Brooks, would items also stop you? Because I know that you too are a collector of things.
Yes, I too have way too many things and continue to accumulate things. I wouldn't even get that far. Like, as soon as you said like learn how to meditate, I was like, nope. Because I would see a flyer like that, and I'm like, if I want to know how to meditate, I will Google it and read some stuff. But I'm not going to be in a room with people, like, because I know that that's probably the major way that they could get people into a room is by offering a free service.
Yeah.
So I'm way too guarded.
I get that.
Yeah, there's no way in hell they'd get me to give up my stuff. I am too skeptical and rational, and I don't know what the word I'm searching for is, but I don't know.
I'm too much of like a solitary person to be like I'd be around people all the time. Ew, gross.
I would say that I'm definitely more of a Mulder than a Scully, but even then, like again, when they're like, "Oh, give up your stuff and your money," it's like, no, fuck you. This is mine.
Which they all inevitably do, because you got to give all your stuff to the cult leader.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, so
like,
maybe being kind of. Maybe just like being selfish is what would save me from like sliding all the way down the slope into full cult member. Just liking stuff too much and being more self-centered than they'll allow.
The current one that really bothers me is the twin flames. Because I'm still not caught up on Last Podcast on the Left, but I've like been seeing the updates when I get like the Patreon subscriber emails. So like I'm intrigued. Yeah, there's a documentary on Netflix on.
Damn, they get those out. They crank those out fast.
Seriously.
Well, it's been around for several years at this point, but
even then, that's kind of fresh by cult standards because it has to be like recognized.
Yeah.
As like something that's fucking weird, rather than just like those hippie guys down the street.
Well, no, because it's really different. Mm-hmm. It's in fact a fully online cult.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. So the basic gist of it is that there is this couple, who had this philosophy of the twin flame, that there is one person out there for everybody, your twin flame. And so they prey on these people who are lonely, who can't find a romantic partner, and they make them sign up for all these online classes, which are basically just them sitting there talking about how good their relationship is.
Ew.
But then they decided that they were going to start matching up people within the cult, because some people were getting mad that they weren't.
That never goes well. I just got to the point where I'm listening to the series on the troubled teen industry, and I was listening to the background episode about Synanon.
I just learned about them like within the past week or two. Yeah.
Oh, fun little synchronicity there. But like how things fell apart when they started matching people up and being like, okay, you guys have to dissolve all your marriages and we're gonna start shuffling people around. Like, that's
They can only be married for like 3 years at a time. Then they had to get a new partner.
yeah, that's when you're gonna lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, where it got much worse in the case of Twin Flames
Oh,
is that
fun.
they were pairing up the people that were in the Twin Flames universe, the TFU. The problem was the vast majority of them are women, and they're very welcoming of like gay and lesbian relationships.
It's like a reverse incel problem, basically.
Well, the leaders of the cult decided that everybody is either a divine masculine or a divine feminine, that it doesn't necessarily match with your biological sex assigned at birth. So basically, what they started doing was pairing up women and telling one of them, you are the divine masculine and you are the divine feminine.
Oh, that's
And
gonna go over great.
and the woman who was told, I know you think you're a woman, but you've actually been a man your whole life, they're like transitioning because the cult leaders told them to. Like a lot of top surgeries going on.
Oh my god.
It's it is messed up. And they have to keep doubling down, and like upping it further and further and further.
I mean, that is usually how it goes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It is. Ooh, there's this one girl that they told her, "Oh, you already met your twin flame. You just don't know it." And she was like, "Well, I did have some random Facebook message the other day." And he was like, "That's it. That's your twin flame." Some random convict, like a decade older than her in another state, he told them that they had to get married, and they did. And oh my God, like it's terrible. This girl was terrorized. She was like 18.
Geez, I will be going on a Wikipedia deep dive after we're done
Yeah.
tonight.
Twin flames is upsetting. But the reason I bring that one up is because like that's one of those things where people are giving them just huger amounts of money for these courses and stuff because they're told that they'll find love.
I
And
think
so
that
like
again,
it's different enough or something.
that's a very good, quote unquote good, highly insidious because it works so well.
Yeah.
Way to prey on people because like unless you like with some notable exceptions of people who can just happily live in like their one man shack in the woods for their entire life, we are very social creatures. Like
Yeah.
we again aside from those exceptions, we very much do crave like connection with other people. So like that's a good in its insidiousness way to prey on people.
It's very
Efficient in
effective.
its insidiousness, let's say.
Yeah,
Because it's not good.
it's not good. Like it's effective. But yeah, damn,
Yeah,
that's
no, it's
wild. I am gonna be doing
really
some
bad.
googling.
So
Yeah.
effective insidiousness sounds like a kick-ass band name.
Ooh, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
My
the documentary's on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure Twin Flames is in the name.
I'm gonna send that to my friend because she told me that she got one of those like practice like the electronic practice like drum kits or whatever, and I have an electric guitar. I'm very not good, but she told me as soon as she was like, "Oh, I finally got my drums to work." I was like, "Great, we'll be the least practice metal band. That's gonna be our name."
Effective insidiousness.
Fuck yeah. Okay, so the other thing, or the last thing actually, that I have on the docket for today involves a picture that I am going to send to the channel direct message here. This is a Snapchat that I received from my friend that just kind of stopped me in my tracks. And okay, you know what? What if I just copy and paste this into the chat? Will that make my life easier? Hold on a second here. Okay. Come on. Copy the image. Why? How about that? No. Why does this just keep becoming more... Oh man, oh man.
Technical difficulties, always so fun.
It's been don't know why it's always like that. Why is...
Usually
No.
it's because we upgraded something. Did you like try to make something better and then
I have been messing with our Streamlabs recently to try and make things a little more efficient. How about now? Copy.
I'm pretty sure
Yes,
everything
got
stopped working in our studios because we bought new mics.
Love it. So yeah, this is a Snapchat that I received from my friend Zach, who used to be one of our podcast co-hosts. But I just want to talk about this Snapchat he sent me, and the question that is posed in the Snapchat: how in the fuck did that get on there?
I have two theories.
Because I don't know, and it's bothering
one
me.
is like the Occam's razor like theory, the obvious explanation. Somebody just has like a hex bolt, like screwdriver, and can get that bolt off, and like just threw it on there and screwed it back on. My second theory, it's cake. All the cake.
As it very often is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, to try to describe it a little bit, I guess.
Yes, you're good at this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like one of those handrails you have in like a handicap bathroom, sort of like the built-in rails. But we have a roll of toilet paper that seemingly is on a part of it where it can only be put if you do take bolts out of the wall.
Yeah.
I suppose is the best way to put it.
But my thing is, like, I'm looking at it, and I, like... Even if you just take bolts out of the wall, I cannot, for the life of me, think of a convenient way to do this, because I think the plate that's holding it to the wall...
It's bigger than the...
it's not...
Well, it's also behind that other pole, so they would imagine,
it's not two separate plates. It's one.
Huh.
This has been driving me insane for days.
I was also gonna say, like, maybe it was cut, like, and like, it's just positioned at an angle where you can't see the cut, but it's hidden by the bar. But if you ever tried to cut a roll of toilet paper, like, it just poof, like, goes everywhere. It's not gonna hold form like that.
Yeah, so this has been driving me insane for multiple days.
Or something.
Like,
the bar on the top almost looks like it has a hinge, like it could go up and down.
Yeah, like it swings.
Yeah.
Which, what an odd design choice. If that is the case.
Yeah.
Does it go up, maybe? Like, maybe the bar isn't actually attached to the wall, like the bottom part?
Yeah.
Possible.
Maybe the whole thing, like, swings up if you want to get it, like, out of the way or something.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, because maybe you need to move it... I'm also now thinking about where it's positioned in relation to the toilet. Is that the flusher handle? What is that on the right-hand side?
I would assume so.
Yeah, like top right.
Yeah.
Like sticking into the frame.
Because I'm wondering if, like, depending on the angle and the layout of the bathroom, if that, this kind of bar might be in the way of somebody's wheelchair, depending on how they have to maneuver, and so it needs to be able to lift out of the way.
Yeah, it does look like the doorway might be to the left, like in the bottom left corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the bottom hinge on the door.
But yeah, if I saw that in like a club bathroom and I was already like several drinks deep, the amount of time that I would spend like staring would be concerning.
I wouldn't stare. I'd be like moving everything, touching stuff, trying to figure it out. Like,
how did they do this?
And then thoroughly wash my hands because it is a public bathroom.
As I would hope everyone does. But yeah, as soon as he sent that to me, I was like, if you figure it out, don't tell me anything, because this is content.
Did he say where he took this?
No, I received no further context.
I thought this was like a meme or something. Like, no, he
no, my friend Snapchatted this to me, like, and just his own, personal adventures.
Crazy.
And I was like, this is fantastic. Thank you.
I'm headed down his way in a couple of weeks, so that's why I'm wondering if he took it down in the DC area.
Please, if there's follow-up, I would love to hear it.
show me where this was. But it could have,
There was
knowing
like
him, it
2
could
or
have been
3 of them when you got there. Like, it just keeps multiplying. Like,
Yeah, that would be
I feel like-
interesting.
I feel like it could be really anticlimactic, though. Like, you walk in and like, yep, it lifts up.
Yeah. But also, it could get even more confusing where you find out that it doesn't lift up and it's actually bolted on even more securely than the picture shows.
Cut to me in there with a sledgehammer.
That I would love to see.
Did it get on there?
So, with all of that being said, unless anybody else has more thoughts on this conundrum, that is going to bring us to our end segment, which I believe that the first time you were out here on the podcast, that was not before we introduced that, correct?
I don't remember.
We do the weekly worsening. How are you worse this week?
Wait,
No, I think this is new for me.
Okay, fun. So we do something called the weekly worsening. Brooks,
I was
yes.
just saying that you haven't actually been on the pod before, right? Just the stream?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know why that doesn't. Damn. Okay. Wow. I'm a mess. I could have sworn for whatever reason the stream was the second time that we talked to you guys.
No.
Unless I'm forgetting something, but
I mean,
think
Maybe, no, I think we have been on what? Maybe?
maybe.
sure.
Well, either way, if you're not remembering, what we do at the end of every episode is we do something called the weekly worsening, which is how are you more your authentic self this week in a way that makes you so much more difficult to deal with for every single person that you know. So I'm going to start with my example. Brooks, this was my worsening last week, but I'm displaying it because it's relevant. So this bad boy arrived in the mail last week or like 2 weeks ago, and it was my worsening. It's my lovely Super 7 Papa Emeritus the third figure. But the way that I'm worse this week is that I went online and I went on eBay and found one of Papa Emeritus the first, and I ordered it, and it was like $90. But that was actually a really good deal because the one I had my eye on previously before I did some like hunting through eBay listings for a decent one was like closer to $200. But he's mine.
Collector of things.
Collector of things indeed. But yes, he's mine and I'm so excited. So that is the glaring way in which I am worse this week. I continue to acquire ghost items. And I refuse to stop. Thank you. The floor is open to either of you.
All right. I'll go. Actually, I did like buy a little thing.
Hell yeah.
I'm a collector of like Godzilla, like specifically the Bandai like Godzilla figures.
Nice.
And this one was only like $20, and like I just got it. It is Manda, who looks like one of those like Chinese like flying dragons.
He looks kind of like Haku from Spirited Away. I love it.
Yeah, this cabinet behind me, you probably can't see it, is filled with like these Godzilla figures that I collect.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. My porch back there is a tiki bar that is also Godzilla themed.
As it should be.
Yeah. But that was, like I said, that was only $20, so I didn't go too crazy. I have been like under the guise of like, well, I'm doing this like because I do this for the stream every week. I have to like look cool on camera. I have been buying a lot of t-shirts lately, like a lot. I had a streak going where I was wearing like a new shirt like probably for like 2 or 3 months straight, like every week.
You can always tell what I've been doing that I'm excited about or when I bought a new shirt because I will either have like gone to something, be that a concert or like gone to see a show and gotten a shirt and then I wear it on the podcast the next time we record, or I've just gotten usually a Ghost shirt or another metal band shirt. I've just gotten another shirt in the mail and then I don't go places. So this is where I show that off.
Yeah, exactly. Like I go like to the garage over there to record our show and then to the bar down the street. Like that's it.
Love it. So, Brooks, how are you worse this week?
It continues on the same theme.
Wait, there's a couple themes this could be. Anime.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Like, I can't stop. I mean, I've watched.
Before you get into this,
Yeah.
I broke her, I think. Because before she met me, she had never watched a single anime series in her life. We did one for the stream, because I also had not seen a lot of anime. And since we're both big, like, TV and movie people anyway, I was like, all right, where are we going to be on vaguely even ground where one person isn't like, oh, I know all about, like, you know, this sort of niche area of media, and the other person's just so totally out of their depth. I was like, all right, what's something we both don't know a ton about? We'll watch an anime series. We had a lot of fun doing that. So I decided, all right, yeah, let's do another. Death Note did something to you.
It wasn't Death Note.
It awoke
What
in
did we start
something.
watching when we were in the middle of doing Death
Oh,
Note?
yeah, no, Chainsaw Man did something to you.
Chainsaw Man is what did
Chainsaw
it.
Man, like, rewired your brain on impact.
It brought me so much joy. I love Denji and Power with all my heart. And I feel like I just continually chase that same feeling by watching as much anime as humanly possible.
Feel that big time. And actually, are you planning on rocking the Power cosplay at the next Saratoga Comic Con?
I didn't text you back, but I was gonna say I might do. Oh my god, my mind just went entirely blank. Well, I was talking about a thing.
Chainsaw Man, anime, cosplay.
Yes.
Not Power.
Not Power.
Makima.
Yeah, that.
Sweet. Anyway.
Because I had the wig and the contacts because I was gonna do it at the last Saratoga Comic Con, and then I couldn't go.
Fair.
So
That's right. Yeah.
well, still in the Chainsaw Man theme there. But yeah,
Exciting,
I mean, I've watched
exciting.
multiple anime series since just last week, and I've been watching that time I got reincarnated as a slime,
Love it.
which is absolutely ridiculous. And I sit down to watch a few episodes in the evening, and every time I do, I say out loud, "It's slime time." So that's
You know,
where I
as
am.
you should. As you should.
I've also been obsessively knitting my dude sweater.
Fuck
Pretty
yeah.
jazzed about that. I actually have it sitting right. I mean, all I have is part of a sleeve, but it's coming along.
That's awesome.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I still remember going to see that movie for the first time and being the only person laughing their ass off at that movie. Like,
Oh, I
remember
also-
the date, and like she was just sitting there like completely quiet, and I am like in tears laughing at this movie.
Weak. It's a funny
Yeah, we
ass
didn't laugh
movie.
long.
I feel like it's got to be like one of the comfiest possible cosplays.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, speaking of comfy cosplays, though, I recently discovered a black metal band that dresses as like medieval beekeepers.
That's very specific.
It's so weird, but I feel like that's got to be one of the coziest cosplays ever because you're just wearing like a glorified snuggie and then like the bottom of a wicker basket over your face.
PJs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of literally what the dude wears in a lot of Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
It's pajama pants.
Yeah, pants. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would have to have a prop white Russian with me at all times.
As you should.
I do have a pint glass that says, "Careful, man, there's a beverage here." But,
Even better. So I'd say that's a solid worsening for all of us. Nicely done.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that brings us to the conclusion. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. This was fantastic. And
Thanks for
I'll
having
have to go back and check the tape and see if you guys did actually ever appear on the podcast as a unit. And if not, we should do that soon.
Yeah. For sure.
I love forgetting
Actually,
things
go
I've
up
done on my
time
own.
this time. Yeah.
I love forgetting things I've done on my own show. But
First time.
it'd be like that.
Remember when you were like, "Oh, that'll be the first time we get rated."
No, it was not. What I just get confused. All right, as always, thank you for fighting with us, friends. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we will be back again next week for more chaos, as always. See you then. This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Dr. Sarah Brooks, featuring special guest Chris Martinez of the Big Dumb Monsters podcast. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at brkelly98, at AndSarahSaid, and search Big Dumb Monsters on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch and Facebook, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature, or consider subscribing to our Patreon for early access to episodes and fun bonus content. Thanks for listening!